All right.
Okay, you guys, we're back. Yesterday we had our power hour with our young ladies that are gonna definitely make the world a better place. But today we want to get a little more intimate, so we want to start breaking it down. And so we want to get like as deep into your little brain or as possible.
For sure. And we had like I said, we forced the exit, but we were wrapping up in the middle of like something, and you had said something to spark my mind and like had me super interested, and I was hoping that we could start off and dig into that. And we were talking about like people moving around and having a purpose. And I think Dose was like, I feel like everybody has a purpose, and you were like, you disagreed. And there was no malice in your voice or nothing, and it was just like really genuine. And I want to know why you think that. Please, you can share with us.
Yeah, thanks so much for the question and also for the invitation. I think it's by experience and what you feel when you meet people, and also what a lot of people told me that they admire me for, because when you miss a purpose in life, you have no North Star, and you don't really know what to do with your life. So I have some friends who just say like, I want to make money, and I just go down that track, like start that job, but they feel like they are missing something. And for me, it was always like since ever entirely clear that I have this North Star, what I learned later that I call now purpose. And I feel you feel that when you meet people who also have a purpose, and you click with these people. And it's different with those who don't have that. And I feel it's a gift, and you can't buy that.
I like that. And it definitely brings a lot more clarity. To dig, do you think that people can like almost get to a point where they're ready to find their purpose or get a purpose, or you just, once you're done, you're done?
Well, maybe I can also give a question back to you guys. I think from my perspective that either the purpose finds you through the life trajectory that you take, like your journey. You can make yourself open to finding the purpose, but I think you have to be open for these kind of experiences. And if you want to find that, it's a kind of journey, but I feel the experiences that you have in your life shape that purpose, and some people are more open to that than others maybe, but I don't know, what do you think about that? What's your experience?
I probably differ and ride in the same thing, but before I go there, I like you saying people have a North Star, and if you miss that, then you just end up somewhere. And so I think the question I wanted to ask on that is, are we saying there's a calling and we're chasing that calling, and if we miss that because we went after this superficial, like I want to make a lot of money or I want to be really famous, do they miss that? And is that something they can come back to? Or is that purpose is now gone? And I think when you said it, North Star, it resonated, because it's like my whole life is that I know what I went through, and even as a young person, I've always wanted to help people. Even when I did wrong things, I still wanted to help people. And I would tell it in my head like, hey, we're like Robin Hood. We're getting this the wrong way, but look, I'm taking care of everybody who doesn't have. And that's not right, but in my heart it was right. And then I found a way to go the right way and to really try to help. So I don't think I ever lost my purpose, but I like that you say that North Star, because I was that didn't fit in and found a way to fit in, but tried to keep my identity alive. So I like that. Now, as on purpose itself, I think everybody has a purpose. And what I mean by that is there's pawns on the board. And the pawns on the board are pieces we use to do things. And most of them are just to get in the way so we can move around the board. But if that pawn makes it to the other side of that board, it now becomes a power piece. So maybe through the experience of missing your purpose and going all the wrong ways, and then something really heavy sits on you, do you power up to that power piece? So I would think that certain people can, because I know people who, I would say this, I have a friend of mine that white male from another country over here doing financially very well. Married a black woman. I'm talking about not a light-skinned, like what most other people want. I'm talking about a dark-skinned black woman. Not good hair. We talking about where she has to go get a perm. I'm talking about like he married her. And all his conversations with me is, there's things that I missed. When people said stuff, I didn't catch it. Now his purpose is of trying to make sure everybody fits. So when he goes into places and he's looking at these places in these wealthy areas, he's looking at where is this right for his kid? How does his kid grow in this environment, even though he has that money? So I think his purpose came back in.
Yeah.
Because first it was about money and how I'm going to live.
Yeah.
Now it's like, how do I make sure my kid's life is better?
Yeah.
And now his purpose is seeing that for other people. So he'll call me, hey, you know, I was at the country club and they said this, and I went out there and I checked that guy. Or when this happened, do you know, in our neighborhood, they pulled over a black kid for crossing the street. And I got a problem with that. We need to go down to city council because he caught this this relationship.
Through love.
Yeah, you know, so, and I say that, so do you think a purpose, because I know most of them are never found. We call those golden handcuffs. I find something and it's taking care of me, and I know I should be over here, but ooh, this is taking care of me, and you don't want to leave that. You know, and we talked about it like too, your Dose talked about it yesterday, the nervousness. Like, hey, you might go to jail, so we kind of get amped up because you might get in trouble. And is that her purpose to it? Is that her feel like she's mattering? I don't feel like that's her purpose. I feel like that's feeling like she matters. And so then does her mattering turn into a purpose somewhere?
Yeah.
Because she starts to find that identity.
Yeah, I mean, this North Star also like shapes over time, I guess, right? And sometimes it's more visible in some phases of your life than in others, and then it becomes more clear when it's night or during the day. It's sometimes not there, and you feel that more, or it becomes more meaningful when you engage with some people, and with others you don't. So I guess that a lot of people are very busy in their lives and might just not see it. We can use our voice to inspire people, because when you have a purpose, you feel that energy, right? And everyone who also doesn't have a purpose feels that and gets inspired. So through love or through inspiration and through like being a role model, people can like jump on that, but they have to want that. And I think some don't want that, which is also okay-ish somehow. But you can refine it, or you can look for it if you get inspired or through love, which is a great example, I guess. Yeah.
You've said it like 3 times in this short little time, and it's something that I'm super big on, and it's want to. I could be like, hey, you know, make a lasagna. That's my favorite food. But if you don't know how to make it, like eventually you can if you want to learn and practice. Like, you know what I mean? But like you said, like to kind of go back to what we were saying, like I believe everybody is born with a purpose, but I do believe that it kind of, like you said, diminishes. I think certain times of your life it fades out, and sometimes it's like super bright. But I won't even say that. I just really feel like when you're super young, when we're first born, I believe in that innocence, we still believe that we can be astronauts and all that. But then as we get older and we grow up in these environments, or, you know, for us, I talk to the boys about this all the time. And I asked them the other day, like, you know, how many lawyers do you guys know? How many electricians do you know? And it's like, everybody's like, you know what I mean? Even myself. So it's like, I'm not mad at them for not being the people that they've never seen. You know what I mean? So, like I said, at the same time, it's like, if one of them are getting excited about being a plumber or something, it's like, you know, that's cool. Hopefully you can lock into that vision, because it's not really coming from outside sources. So, I kind of want to go back to that. Like I said, when we get to a certain age, I feel like it starts to like wear off, and then we start to have them bad self-talks. And it's like, man, I'm from the hood. I ain't gonna never be able to do that. I might as well just go do something different anyway. You know what I mean? And we start to place ourselves in a box and displace ourselves from places that can actually help us and people that can actually help us. We start to associate educated with square and not cool, and you know what I mean? And then it's like we look up years down the line, like these are people we're trying to get jobs from. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it, because I definitely felt you yesterday. I was like, man. But I do also feel like 'cause I think I'm a testimony of that. I had almost, I ain't gonna say didn't have a purpose, but the word I like to use is like having a destination. I had nowhere that I was going, so it was like anybody could take me off track because I didn't need to get to a specific place. So if I'm not going north, you know what I mean, that ain't in my mind, you could take me south or east or west, you know what I mean? So I think that would be the way that I would try to like articulate it to the kids is like, you know, find something or find somewhere that you know you want to be, you know what I mean? And then it's like chase that, and anything that doesn't line up with that, it's like, okay, I can step away from it and not be into it. Yeah, but you definitely touched me with that. That was big. Trying to identify, you know, what your purpose is tough, but it's just knowing that there's something out there for you, I think is key. You know what I mean? Knowing that there's a future for you.
I think what helped me is like think of when you feel most present or when you feel you're in the moment and like look what is already around you. And for me it was like my friends, my lifelong friends, and the love I experience. And when I like didn't see my purpose in like dark periods of my life, I always knew the love of my friends that keeps me alive. And I was reminded of why life is beautiful and why I want to like live that life and use these 30,000 days. And that made me rethinking just by looking at what is already around me. And when you have a great community or people that love you around you, that's where you can start, because it's a great resource if there's someone who takes care of you or a friend who loves you like unconditionally.
For sure.
So we kind of hinted on this yesterday when we were next door talking. We didn't do it in here. And I want to talk about burden. Being a white woman. We talked about blonde hair, blue eyes. We talked about Stanford teacher.
Your life is perfect.
So to the rest of the world, it looks like that. Mm-hmm. And to the rest of the world, they'll believe that there's doors that are automatically unlocked for you to go into that we're not allowed to go into. It's going to be a two-part question. One is, do you understand your burden? And I'll explain mine in DJs, and then I'll explain yours, and I'd like you to elaborate back on it. Me and him are two light-skinned black guys. So we know we can move through things easier than dark-skinned black guys. So we understand our burden, so we need to make sure some doors are open. We know we're going to be accepted in some situations because of, and we understand that. We've also understood that with our girls that were mixed. They were half black and something else. White guys and other guys liked them. They looked beautiful to them. You know, they had the kinky hair. They didn't see them the same way. So it's us understanding our burden, and then I say you. And the reason I say you is not all white people have that burden. But people like you that, like you said, a word you said probably maybe 25 times today is love. And I think you walk into a room with your heart on your sleeve. I think you give love until people prove they don't deserve it or they shun it away. And I think that's who you are. So when you walk into that room and knowing that there's a room that doesn't understand you, it will love you. Well, you see how it treats you good, but it doesn't understand you. And your burden to me is a heavier burden because of the things you're teaching are very important. When we talk about sustainability, we talk about how are we going to survive in life? How in 50 years where it's going to be a water source, the food source, the living source, how are all these things going to take place? And 90% of our community are clueless to the word sustainability. Let's not even talk about global warming. No, they're clueless. It's just a cliche word and they keep on moving. I think your burden becomes even heavier, not only because you love and you care of people, but at the same time you're trying to do something to make people's lives better that, like we talked about yesterday, probably won't see it in their lifetime. They probably won't benefit from it. But what are we doing for that? So I want to ask, having that burden, and then you being at a school like Stanford, which is one of the richest areas in the world, and then you're coming right down the road to one of the poorest neighborhoods. And then how do you take your burden and make sure people are going to learn? How do you translate that into a language that they're going to understand. And at the same time, because you will move, you will be leaving. The reason we're having the podcast today and not next week is you're leaving. And once again, and I think I explained this to you when we were driving up here, is you asked what does it take to be a mentor?
Yeah.
And I said somebody's going to be here for a while because you may be the only face sitting at their graduation. You may be the only person they've ever opened up to. And so, once again, you're going to be leaving. And so, once again, our kids are cool with you, but us adults have fell in love with you. So there's a difference. So you leave and we understand seasons change and then they come back. Our youth don't understand that. So how do you, when you leave and you come back, how do you help that fall into these ears and these minds?
Yeah. First, I think it's absolutely beautiful that we have this conversation and that there's institutionalized racism and all these things that we talk so openly and so genuine about this, and that is what makes us unique. So thanks for this. And where do I start with all of that? I think the word burden, it's a matter of how you frame it or how you frame a narrative around that or how you understand this. And I think I don't really understand it as a burden, but more as a gift of what I'm capable. I see opportunities where others probably see closed doors or a dead end. That's where I'm like intrigued and curious and like, that's not a dead end. There's probably another street somewhere, and if there's not, we're gonna build one. And that's maybe things that I really like. So Stanford, yeah, it's a little bit like Disneyland. Everything is a bit staged, but even there you find beautiful souls and people who have a great purpose in their life. And I don't really care about where someone is from, how someone looks like. I connect with humans who do great things in life. And looking back on when I came here on the first day, like, I live in East Palo Alto and I love it because I feel like it's an authentic context, and I love to be in an authentic way, like connected to the people around me and to feel the environment around me, and people are super friendly here, right? So, and I go through the streets with an open mindset and I don't really care about anything else. Maybe I'm a bit naive sometimes, but whatever. So I just looked up on Google Maps, like, where can I go boxing? And I had absolutely no clue that half a year later I end up on this chair. So when I came here, I just wanted to learn how to box and do some sports and connect better with myself and get fit. So I had no clue what kind of beautiful place this is, right? And when I entered the gym, I mean, I thought, okay, I'm the only white blonde person. Didn't really care about it. And when Casey, the coach, like paired me up with Remy, I saw that there was like an ankle monitor, and I had never seen one in my life. And I was looking at the thing, and
That's a nice shoe, huh?
And I was like,
nice shoe.
and I was like, oh, what is that? And but I felt so welcomed, and I felt tremendously respectfully treated. And I was like, I have absolutely no clue about this person, and he's super nice to me. So we did our warm up together. We like did a high five. He said like, good job, well done. Like fully disciplined, full respect, and that's the beauty of just like doing sports, right? Everyone's the same, it doesn't matter. So that's how the whole story started. Before I knew who you are, before I know who that like place like connects people with each other, and yeah, I mean the answer is always to me: be authentic, listen, ask questions, try not to judge yourself and others. And yeah, I'm gonna leave, but do I really leave? I'm not really sure. And there's always things that remain, I hope. So I'm not 100% sure if it's really like a leaving, or if something's gonna stay, even though I'm not physically here. I hope so, but yeah.
You know you're already locked in. You already know that. We talked about Andrea and everything. You saw the connections.
Yeah.
You built in a short amount of time. You built more connections than most people we have that come over here. And that goes back to when you talk about authenticity.
Yeah.
And that's what you bring. So back onto the burden piece, because you don't call it a burden, you say we're looking for these doors.
Yeah.
Why we call it a burden, it's like me, I have kids.
Yeah.
And my burden is to make sure that the circle they're living in doesn't attract them the wrong way because they're around that. So my burden is to make sure they have the education. They can understand where they're from. They can still be friends with where they're from. But we have to build a world that's going to take you somewhere else. Because at the end of the day, that's not how we want people to live. And at the end of the day, we have to make people learn from that. So it still becomes your burden. Because once again, I talked about that when we walked downtown Palo Alto. Most of us don't catch eyes with people walking down the street down there because we know they don't really want us down there. Or at least we feel like that. That could be insecurity in our heart. That could feel we don't fit. It could be cultural norms. It could be a bunch of different things. But all of us will take off to Oakland in a heartbeat and be comfortable. We will be uncomfortable in a place that you might get shot. Your window might get bent. You know, your car broken too. But because you feel accepted, you've come here and made everybody feel accepted. You've hung out 10-hour days with everybody and just enjoyed yourself. You run around with people. So your burden becomes a little more heavy because you're not somebody that's going, I'm going to do a job. Because this isn't your job. You come here because this is your heart. So now that carries you. It carries you differently. You know, when a tear falls out of somebody's eye over here, it actually touches you compared to somebody else that could bother you. But I know them and like, man, like, how do I do about that? And the burden I'm talking about, and I guess the part I'm trying to get you to understand, and maybe I shouldn't use the word burden. How do
The task.
Yeah, the task of, because sustainability. The more I look at it, it's important. Like I told you about my friend with a lot of money that married a black woman. Everything I asked him to that I should invest in is all, you should invest in water. You should invest into greenhouses for food. You should invest into this for nuclear energy because it's the cheapest. So more people can, and you survive. So he's telling me all these things. It sounds like sustainability. And so when he's explained that to me a year ago, 2 years ago, and I'm sitting here with you and there's a college course and I'm sitting here going, and then this girl, serendipity. And you know what serendipity is, right? Young lady, please explain serendipity.
So it's like the surprising moments or encounters, like you meet a person and then later something beautiful connects. Like you connect with that person, or like you go to an event and you meet someone and then you go like, listen, we should do a podcast or we should create something beautiful. So these surprising moments in our everyday life, some people are really good at seeing dots and connecting dots and then like creating something beautiful out of that later on. And so there's like coincidences of surprising like chance encounters. But you're gonna like take agency on these moments, and not a lot of people see opportunities and really take agency, but I think you're doing that here in a great way, and that's also something that resonated a lot with me, because everything that you describe is like, it's a bi-directional thing, right? So it works here, or I felt home because you welcomed me with open arms.
But we talked about that. So I'm going to get on serendipity back in 1 second, but what I'll tell you is like this. You came in open.
Yeah.
So if you came in like this, we might have treated you like that.
Yeah.
You know, you came in like, and everybody treated you like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's the energy you brought. And I think one of the things that I dig about you is what you teach, you also live.
Yeah.
And that you do that, it means it's powerful. A lot of people talk this and they live a different life.
They don't walk the talk.
Exactly.
I get you. Maybe getting back to that burden. So what I see, and we are all doing tremendously important work, we have a limited amount of days in our life, a limited amount of hours. So you can ask yourself, what is the best I can do in these limited amount of days and hours, right? And as long as you try your best every day, then it's all right. You will find meaning, and there's value coming out of this. You can't change the entire world in one life, but you change something. And as long as you do the best you can, there's beautiful things coming out of this. And for me, I'm super impatient, but I improved a bit throughout the last years, I guess. And it takes time to let things grow, right? And you can probably tell like hundreds of beautiful stories, but you see that after like years when like people like text you or write you like, you inspired me like 3 years ago through that like talk or whatever, and now I connected with the person, and it just takes time, but that's all we can do, I guess. And what else would we do? Like, what else would we do? It doesn't make sense to all of us to spend our lifetime doing anything else. It doesn't make sense. So you have to do what you can do. So choose wisely where you're like contributing in the best way. And yeah.
And it's hard to miss that when you speak. You can tell that like you are trying to see the best in people and in situations, and it's like that's beautiful to watch and hear, because we come from like walking into a room and it's like, let me make sure everything is all right. I'm not looking to make sure everybody or to see that everybody is beautiful. I'm looking to see who's evil in here first, and then like, you know what I mean? So it's like that. It just shows so much humility and self-love, I think. I think when you love yourself all the way, it's easy for you to love on others, you know what I mean? So shout out to you, and thank you for, like Gene said, coming into the room with open arms and trying to, not necessarily just love on us, but just put the love out there for the world and be an example of it. Because now it's like, all right, and this is something funny, Gene, I've been talking to a lot of the boys lately. Like, man, I don't really got nothing to do. Well, I'm like, well, come hang out and watch how adults are supposed to move. Like, just go sit up under Gene and Casey and just watch how adults move. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, we may not have an activity for you to do, but it's like you still learn how to conduct yourself when you're around constructive, positive people. You know what I mean? So, and that's been a thing I've been pushing lately. And like I said, I hear it in you when you tell your stories. It's like you're looking, like I said, for the light in people. And if I'm a bystander and I'm like looking up to you, I'm watching that in you, and it's like, okay, if she can see something in people, I can. You know what I mean? It helps to what they say, like clear everybody's blinders a little bit. You know what I mean? Fix the glasses they wearing, seeing the world through.
Or to relook. This helped me. I learned this from a coach a long time ago. So when I was fighting, and I would get my video, let's say I lost a fight or it was a really hard fight, right, harder than it should have been, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, okay, I keep dropping my hands. I'm running out of gas. I'm trying too hard. I'm doing this. And I'm finding it. And the coach turned around and he says, that's not what I asked you to do. I asked you to look at the video and tell me what was good about it. You told me everything that was negative about it. And he says, so you had a good jab. You had good movement. Your reaction time was great. All these things. Now, these other things are byproducts. And he explained it. He says, so could we do more of those things? What could we do to make those things better? You know, and it allowed me to coach differently when I would go with people. I'd have them to watch what their strengths were, and they could almost coach themselves after that. Oh, I did this really good, then I stopped. I was winning, and then I hit him once and hurt him, and then I went to the right hand and I stopped jabbing. And I got away from it because I wanted to knock him out. I wanted to be easy. And so I'm saying that to go over there and say when we look at how people are, we pick the little things. And when DJ said you come in here and you've made, there's nobody. I want you to meet Bo too. I talked to you about her. We went to the healing circle. I talked to you about her. And all of a sudden you guys are working out together. You know, and we talked about serendipity. I talked about DJ. I met DJ. At first I met his girl. She comes in and says, oh, my dude does music and this and this. Oh, good, we want music in the program. We've almost never did music. We've almost never done music. DJ is supposed to be a music guy. Now he's a life coach. DJ is the most known man in East Palo Alto now because he's at every because he found a place to take his love and hand it out. And I needed him. We've had all these other people that come in and they sit in a job, and that's what they do. They do their job. And this isn't a job. Loving on people is not a job. Making the world a better place is not a job. We just talked about that. You go in and there's certain things you teach. And there's things you want to learn, like why is this working? And you go up and beyond your work means because you're trying to figure this out. You're trying to get it all to become this completeness, right? And I think that's what's powerful about people who show up. Because when you turn off, you turn off up here. When you don't, you're laying in bed. Me and him, we will have some discussions. And he's like, fool, you can't call me at 11 o'clock at night. I could be asleep, I could be into something. Now I'm calling you at 11. And then I'll get returned. Hey, this just happened. And it's beautiful when you find people like that. And I think that's big. And like I said, then you come in, and I think I explained this yesterday to you too, is me and DJ and the kids, we're supposed to.
Should we continue?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe closing a few like conversations that you opened up before, like thank you for all the beautiful things you said. I think when you grow up in extreme context, and that can either be a geographical location or an emotional extreme setting, when you grow up out of your comfort zone, and that comes back to boxing and fighting, move out of your comfort zone. There's a tremendous skill for transformation and deep empathy. So everyone in this community, I believe, has these kind of skills, and you can unlock them in the kids. Because they know what it means to suffer or to be in an extreme setting. But these kind of dynamics make you, or they have the potential to transform big things. Because they are thinking, or they are built different. And that's the beauty of all these like bad or sad things around that. So I think if they are equipped with the right skills and with a resilient like self-confidence and love, you can make them become change makers. That's what I believe. And they gotta have a voice, and they have a voice. And that's different to someone who grows up in a perfect setting and never experiences any struggles. I think experiencing struggles, moving out of your comfort zone, makes you accomplish great things, greater things than others around us. And that's something that everyone in this gym can do better than anyone else, because you're coaching them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's great, and that's what I learned here, and that's what us, like, we all have that in common, that we know what it means to live out of your comfort zone and suffer a little bit from this and still accomplish that, and you grow out of your comfort zone, right?
Yes.
So that's the mindset. And as long as you understand this, and I think that takes time, and that also relates back, for me at least, to sustainability. It's a long-term orientation. Like, think about the seeds that you want to plant that then in 50 or 100 years become trees, beautiful trees. But if you have this long-term orientation, then it doesn't feel meaningless anymore. Like even a small seed, you feel valuable if you plant that. So the long-term orientation, that's for me sustainability, and like transparency, be like in tune with your values and your environment. And even if you're not, speak up about it. Mistakes are okay, they are absolutely okay. No one is perfect, speak up about it and ask. You can ask if you don't know what to do. You get help. So that's why I called you today. I had a flat tire. I didn't know what to do. I'm 31 years old doing fucking research in Silicon Valley and have no clue how to get here on time. So who do I call? Who is there?
God.
It's you.
That's funny.
Taking care of me. Yes. So you're not alone.
I want to hit on something. Like I said, you've been kind of just speaking on it all night. Like it reminds me of a quote where, like they say, I'm paraphrasing, but you can't save the world until you take care of your home. And I say this word a lot, Gene, intentional. It seems like you're very intentional about like being in the moment with whoever you come in contact with. So if you're doing that, like I believe you are, even if you do leave, like you're going to leave, the people that you touched and planted that seed with, it'd be in them, and it'd be able to grow. Sometimes we hear our aunts and uncles years down the line, you know what I mean? And like I said, even if it's not a long time, I feel like the way that you engage with people, I feel like, and like I said, just the way that you want to bring out the best in them, I think it'd be hard for them to forget that, you know what I mean? And I can see you going playing places and, touching a few people and it being enough. And I think kind of made me think about my own life, because I have like, big dreams and stuff I want to do. And then sometimes you get a little discouraged because it's like, man, the world is so big, I can't save the world. But like, you can make yourself feel a lot better if you just like pay attention to what's in front of you
Yeah.
and what you can actually touch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like once you start like taking advantage of the ones you can touch and like actually help them out as best you can, you start to feel like, okay, maybe I am doing something, and maybe I am having a positive effect. You know what I mean? But sometimes you feel like the results don't come fast enough or not as wide. Or Gene knows sometimes we have lost causes. You know what I mean? And it makes you feel like, you know, maybe you messed up. But like I said, I feel like the way that you're moving and you're breathing life into people, I can see them having that skill and that power to do that with the next. You know what I mean? So yeah, keep it up. Keep it up.
Thank you. But I also think it's about showing up vulnerable, and for me, leaving and moving is, I also don't know if that's a good or a right thing to do, and this time it doesn't feel right. So when I went back in June, I had to go back for a week to Germany. I was crying when I was on the plane, and I was texting you, because with you it's different than the other times I've been moving. So I also don't know the answer to this moving and me not having a home, and that's what I've learned here, what it means to have a home and a community, and you can't buy that
For sure.
for no money in the world.
For sure.
And this feeling that I got to experience here, I've never had that anywhere else. So I'm not sure if it's right to move or
Keep working,
to
G.
leave.
Keep working, G. Keep working. Keep working.
But I think it's the whole everything. You know what I'm trying to say? It's you have here, then you have the people that she's met at Stanford. She's found a world, and I think what turns me on about it is I feel like we live in this Silicon Valley ecosystem, and there's extreme highs and extreme lows, right? But there's also power makers around here, like people who can actually really financially change the world, who can technologically change the world, do all these different things, right? And so then when someone like you comes in and says, I live here, I've been here, I've done that, and I've come on, I found home, she found it in meager terms and in really big terms. And I think that, to me, that's what makes me go, okay, so we have somebody coming from another country coming in and making us say, I feel at home now. Yeah. And you're not the only one. I'm sitting with Botu, and she says she lived in 8 different places, other countries, and her whole thing at the same time was, this is the first time I felt at home. Yeah. So it tells you there's something in our center, and we have to do better. You know, you and me have to go be that change out there and grab these loved ones and sit back and say, okay, let's create this coalition that becomes everything it should be.
Yeah. Keep adding to it. And that's definitely your responsibility too. Keep finding people that you say, or meeting people that have that purpose, you know, and represent that strip. Because you can feel it. You can feel it when you meet those people. Yeah. And, you know, give them that encouragement and let them know to keep the movement going. And next you know, it's like, what is it, reach one, teach one, you know what I mean? Next you know, it's like we're all kind of like spread our wings around and get it going. So, yes, I'm grateful. I talk about Gene. I'm pretty sure his ears ring a lot. I feel like him and the way that he goes about things, my favorite kind of explanation is the micromanaging. I've never seen Gene do that. It's always like he knows how to delegate. But not only does he be like, hey, you know, here's your job and do it, but he empowers you, man. He almost tricks you into thinking that you're better than what you are. You know what I mean? So it's like, I gotta live up to that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's pushing. It gives you a fire. I'm able to go around and move like that because it's like, I have to keep up with him. You know what I mean? So to kind of give you guys both your flowers, knowing that you guys are out there pushing and going out your way to love on people and see the best in others, it's like, you know, I lay down at night and I'm like, man, I'm tired, or if I feel like I don't want to get up, it's just like, man, I'm pretty sure Gene is up right now working out. You know what I mean? And if I would stay in bed a little bit longer, he's probably going to call me. You know what I mean? So it's just like, not why not, but just like, I don't know, how can I not? How can I not get up and have that same hunger? You know what I mean? So, and like you said, it's fulfilling. It's fulfilling. It feels way more better than money. Like I've had, no lie, I've been here officially working here like 18 months. I've cried at least 8 times. I've had a kid call me, or I've called Gene and just be like, fuck, man, this shit is crazy. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm one of the tough guys. I didn't think, like you said, the word vulnerable, I didn't think that I would be able to be one with this. I thought it was going to be a job and be like, just cut the switch on. But like, if one of my kids is hurting, I'm hurting. You know what I mean? I'm frustrated. I don't know how to like brush it off and get to the next thing. Like, I go home and talk about work. You know what I mean? So it's funny and it's a blessing. But like I said, you get to be around people that you know are doing it with you, and it feels good. It's like a race, man. Let's see how many can we save? How many can we save, man? Let's see how many people we can help and lift up. Because sometimes it's not really like people need anything like as far as like finances. It's just like, be there for me.
Yeah.
Tell me that you think I can do something other than what I've been doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that goes a long way.
Yeah. I mean, the trust or the empowerment is super important, and also building confident future adults, so to say, and inspire them to have a voice in the future and even now in the present. And I think sometimes it also helps to bring in outsiders, because what I experienced here, and I want to emphasize this, never in my life have I experienced more respect from men and boys than here. It's crazy. And it's the way you educate your man, the boys, it's honestly, it's super beautiful and it's genuine. And there's so many things that you probably don't see, because for you it's like you take it for granted, it's implicitly there.
I'm used to it, yeah.
But I come in and go like, that is insane. Like, I tell you this, and then it becomes like, oh wow, yeah. And that's the same vice versa. So if you have people from outside, it helps you to open up sometimes, I guess.
I agree. But what I think it does is it also shows that we're more connected than we want to believe. We always want to pretend there's boxes, and there's really not boxes. There's boxes because we put things in boxes. If we left them out, you talked about like the job today and how they want it open, and you can see everything, so it becomes more energetic and everybody energy flow off each other. And I think that's what happens here. You're not in this box over here. When you come here, everybody's in the same thing. They just scatter over the floor and we find what we want. And we end up migrating to what we like. And I think that's insanely powerful in the thought within itself. You know, just in this room, I want the red apple. He wants the green apple. You want the yellow banana. And nobody was upset. Nobody was bothered. It was sitting there and we all...
I love that everything's vegan.
Because she is a vegan. Tell them why you're a vegan.
I am vegan because when I was a kid, I asked 1,000 questions a day, and I didn't understand why you would have to kill a living being for me. So I asked, do I have to eat that? And everyone in my family still eats meat. And my mom said back in the days, I don't know if humans can survive without meat, probably. And then I decided to just say, okay, I don't want to eat animals anymore. It just didn't feel right to me. Coming back to empathy.
I think it's bigger than empathy. I think that's so much bigger. I think that comes back to nature. You know, we talked about Avatar and connecting, and I think that's one of the biggest terms. You have a kid who says, I don't want to eat something living. I don't think that's right, and change their lifestyle, not for health, not just from that. If that doesn't show you how hard it is.
Yeah, but it also like my mom, for example, she still eats meat, and how she responded to that made the whole difference, because she was like, I'm not sure, I don't eat. So she took me to the doctors twice a year to check my blood. She went with me to a nutritionist expert to check that I get like all these things, like she cooked for me like different vegetables, and she was open to that. And she didn't say no, she just said, I'm not sure, I don't know, so let's explore. And we just talked how tall I am, right? So I think I'm all like, well, everything is okay with me.
But what is cool too is we talked about having people empower us.
Yeah.
And your mother empowered us.
Yes.
And that once again, and then she empowered it, not knowing, and still followed up to make sure that it was good. If that's not parenting at
I was fine with
man, like that's
She let you come to your own conclusion.
yes.
Yeah.
But make
that
sure you
was-
were safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But
that was crazy.
that's, to me, that's like, wow.
Yeah.
No, I don't want you doing that because you can get hurt. Well, let's try it, and
If it
let me
doesn't
find,
work,
let me
yeah.
find the safety pieces in it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's what's
You know,
up.
and I'll trip them on you.
Yeah.
You know, okay.
But there's also this side that I would always do what I wanted to do, so no words are hard for me to accept. So she was just saying like, okay, I do the easiest way, then it's the easiest one for me. I don't know. But yes, I agree to that. She is a force of nature for sure, and that is what I mean by you have to empower the people and go the way with them, and yeah, check the doors that can be opened.
I,
Yeah.
I think we could wrap it up here. That was great. Thank you for sitting down with us. Gene, got something for us? That was like, I don't know, we gotta probably get you on a Zoom again and while you going and do this again sometime.
Well, she's coming back because she don't have too many choices.
Okay, all right. Well,
Unless
we
she
got-
gets married, then we have to bring her.
yeah, we gotta bring both of them.
Yeah, come
All
on
right.
back. She got home, you gonna find home,
For
homie.
sure, we're gonna find you one. For sure. But yeah, great conversation. You guys, please hit us up. Let us know what you think, where we could get back. She will be back to see us soon.
Yeah.
So thank you again, and we'll be back with another one. All right. That was a hit, y'all.
That was good energy.
That was a hit.
Couldn't get that in a group.